Alrighty guys, so in this video today, what I'm going to be talking about is HARPTA and FIRPTA. The importance of these two topics is something that us as real estate agents on the beautiful island of Maui or Hawaii in general are constantly having to update and inform and teach you guys, people who are non-residents or even non-citizens of the United States, about these two things that are called HARPTA and FIRPTA. So the goal of this video is to actually shorten that learning curve for those who are interested in moving to Hawaii. As always, you guys, if you guys like this information produced in this video, feel free to smash that like button and also go ahead and smash that subscribe button as well, as this helps the YouTube algorithm and it helps me get my content out to more people just like you who are interested in learning more information about HARPTA and FIRPTA. So with that being said, you guys, my name is Devin Atkins. I am a licensed real estate professional on the beautiful island of Maui. So I'm dedicating my whole career to help 1,000 people sell their homes and also help 1,000 people buy their dream home on Maui. So I take a tremendous amount of pride in creating unforgettable experiences that will help you build an amazing future here on the beautiful island of Maui. I want every aspect of this process from start to finish to be perfect so that it can be one big family memory. So my sole purpose is making sure that I consult you and your family on what's best for you guys. Whether it be buy now, buy later, sell now, sell later, it doesn't really matter. My goal is to make sure that I'm consulting you and what's best for you and your family. So if you need a real estate agent who's gonna walk you through the whole process and make it as stress-free as possible and hold your hand through the whole process to make sure that you and your family are making the best decision, I am that agent for you. So with that being said, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get back into the topic of this video, which is HARPTA and FIRPTA. So this video is meant to be a very, very basic explanation of some federal and state Hawaii taxation requirements. So the information in this video is only intended to help familiarize individuals with some terms and requirements of some of these laws, and should not, and I repeat, should not replace the advice and counsel of a licensed tax advisor or an attorney. With that being said, you guys, what is HARPTA? So what it is, you guys, it is Hawaii's Real Property Tax Act, and it is a state law that requires all non-residents of Hawaii to have taxes withheld. So HARPTA, this is the term used in Hawaii, and is also a requirement that all non-residents of Hawaii, regardless of citizenship, to have taxes withheld and remitted to the state within 20 days after the sale of a property located in Hawaii. So with HARPTA, what happens is it assumes that every seller is a non-Hawaii resident, and therefore it is subject to withholding unless proof is provided to the buyer in the form of a properly completed and approved withholding certificate. To collect and remit the tax is placed on the buyer or transferee from a non-resident seller. So the buyer must deduct and withhold and pay to the Hawaii Department of Taxation 5% of the amount realized by a seller of a Hawaii real property interest, whether the property owner is a citizen of the United States or not. So basically what this means is that there is a Hawaii sales tax that needs to be paid to the state of Hawaii. So you might be asking, how can you be relieved of HARPTA? Well, the seller may be exempt from withholding the 5% if you can provide the buyer with a Hawaii resident certification. So in this form, what it does is it requires the seller's Hawaii tax identification. In this form, it requires the seller's federal taxpayer identification number, an address, and a statement that the transfer is a Hawaii resident. So just like with FIRPTA, the Hawaii resident certification will not relieve the buyer of his or her obligations to withhold the funds. Now let's go into FIRPTA. So what FIRPTA stands for is Foreign Investments in Real Property Tax Act. So this pretty much requires a foreign seller to pay capital gains tax upon the close of the sale of United States real property interest. The buyer or the transferee is required to withhold an amount equal to 10% of the amount realized on the sale, which is normally about 10% of the sales price. This withholding is required without the regard to the amount of cash present in the transaction. So the buyer then has 20 days to send the funds to the IRS within 20 days of the closing. So the IRS, how they look at this is that every seller that has a United States real property interest is a foreigner and who is responsible for paying tax, unless the buyer is provided with a properly completed form and approved non-foreign certification, which is signed and sworn to by the seller. So a form like this, basically what it does is it certifies that the seller is not a foreigner and provides the seller's name and the individual's tax taxpayer identification number. So it's very important that the buyer must retain and keep this form for a minimum of 5 years, and the buyer may rely on this form, the non-foreign certification, unless he or she has actual knowledge of the certification being false. So you might be asking how to be relieved from FIRPTA. Well, this form needs to be prepared by the seller. It basically identifies the seller as a U.S. taxpayer. So this document must also be provided to the buyer in a timely manner prior to closing with the taxpayer's seller's tax ID number. So basically, to sum up this video and satisfy both FIRPTA and HARPTA requirements, the cash combined 15% of the sales price. So this is important that the seller must provide the cash funds to the buyer so that the funds can be remitted to the federal and state tax agencies after closing. So basically, failure to properly withhold these funds and also to remit these funds will then place a tax burden on the buyer. So in addition to the tax due, the buyer may also be responsible for interest and penalties. So once again, you guys, this information is intended only to familiarize you with some of the requirements of these laws and should not, once again I repeat, should not replace the advice and counsel of a licensed tax advisor or attorney. So with that being said, you guys, this is Devin the Realtor here on the beautiful island of Maui. So if you guys are interested in learning more about HARPTA and FIRPTA, once again, feel free to go ahead and consult your licensed tax advisor and your attorney. But if you guys are interested in purchasing anything on Maui in general, just feel free to reach out to me at 808-868-7501. With that being said, you guys, Devin the Realtor here on the beautiful island of Maui. God bless and aloha. Alright, thank you for watching my YouTube channel, you guys. I always bring you some of the most exclusive, raw, and authentic topics and videos about Maui and everything there is to do on the island. Don't just stop here though. Watching this video, reach out to me here at 808-868-7501. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single video or share this with a friend. God bless and aloha from Maui.